On the nights when the grain silos groaned, Sam Harrison stood on the levee and counted the trucks that shouldn't have been there. Makazonga, a dot on the Midwestern map with a single blinking stoplight and a retired cannery by the river, slept with its porch lights on. But the river didn't sleep, and neither did the unmarked semis that nosed through the fog, engines idling low, tail lights disappearing toward the abandoned loading docks. He had promised himself he wouldn't keep watching. Promises were easy in daylight. By day, he stocked shelves at Pike's Hardware, repaired cracked phone screens for cash, and refreshed job listings that never called back. There was a folded acceptance email pinned above his desk, an IT apprenticeship 2 hours north, conditional on a start date he couldn't afford to reach. Gas, deposits, tires that weren't bald, everything cost more than a dream. In Makazonga, people measured your choices against what you owed. The town had given him a childhood of creek water and long summers. His mother still ran the school cafeteria, and his uncle's bad knee still needed surgery no one could pay for. Leaving felt like the right thing and the wrong thing, depending on who asked. At sunrise, the silos cast long shadows over the cannery's shattered windows. By noon, the only thing alive out there was the wind and the rumor. "River ghosts," Jerry from the co-op called the trucks, snorting into his coffee. "Off-season grain shipments. Nothing to see." The way Jerry said "nothing to see" sounded like a sign taped over a locked door. That afternoon, Sam swapped a cracked screen for $40 and a diner ticket. Ruth at the counter slid him a plate and nodded toward the window. "You hear those engines last night?" she asked, casual as the coffee she poured. "Wind carries everything," Sam said. Wind don't leave tire marks." She tapped the rim of the cup, eyes on him a second too long. "And wind doesn't buy off-season diesel by the barrel." He forced a grin. "You worry too much, Ruth." "You worry too little," she said, then broke the stare with a smile and walked away. After closing, Pike handed him a box of return locks to repackage and a scrap of advice no one had requested. "Keep your head down," the old man said, counting change. "There are folks in town who like the quiet just the way it is." Sam tried to sleep. The acceptance email glowed on his phone. "You're conditionally approved, pending availability." And he imagined his name on the company badge, a campus with sensor-lit corridors, people who didn't know his story and didn't need to. He turned the phone face down and listened to the river humming beyond the levee. The flyer appeared the next morning, stapled to the corkboard outside the post office. "Night courier needed, no questions. Cash paid." It flaunted a tear-off number, 6 strips already gone. He stared at it long enough for a throat to clear behind him. "Hell of a gig for a man with dreams," said a voice. A stranger, 30, maybe 35, dark jacket, pale eyes that smiled slower than his mouth. "You look like you can keep time and keep quiet." "I'm fine where I am," Sam said, and hated the lie as it left his mouth. "Sure." The man peeled a strip and held it out. "In case fine stops being fine." Sam didn't take it. The man tucked the strip into Sam's hoodie pocket anyway and drifted off like he'd just remembered somewhere better to be. Sam stood in the weak, wintry light with the number burning a rectangle against his ribs. He lasted until dusk. The call connected on the second ring. No hello, just a voice with sandpaper on it. "You work nights?" "Sometime," Sam said. "You drive clean?" "I keep my car maintained." "A beat. We'll provide the vehicle." 1 hour tomorrow, 10 p.m. Simple pickup and drop. 200 cash. Cannery lot, East Gate. Come alone. "What's in the boxes?" "You didn't call because you like answers," the voice said, not unkindly. "You called because you need a door out." The line clicked dead. Sam stared at the phone, then at the river, then up at the cannery's blank windows. He could tell himself a story about auto parts, about someone's holiday packages routed wrong, about off-season grain. Stories were a kind of credit. Spend now, pay later. That evening, he walked the levee until his breath fogged. He thought about his mother's hands, small, precise, the way they folded dish towels like letters, and about the look she would give him if she knew where he was headed. He thought about the acceptance email and how a bridge once built didn't ask for permission to be crossed. On his way home, he passed Ruth locking the diner door. "You look like you decided something," she said, slipping on her coat. "Just tired," he said. "Sleep won't fix it," she replied. "Whatever it is." He almost asked, "What do you think it is?" Instead, he said goodnight and kept walking, the number warm in his pocket, his shadow spooling out under the streetlight like a trail. At 10 p.m. tomorrow, he would stand in a lot where the town pretended not to look. He would take one step toward the thing everyone claimed did not exist. And if he kept his head down and his mirrors checked, a door might open wide enough for a man to slip through. For now, he counted trucks that weren't there and promised himself he wouldn't keep watching. Promises were easier at night. The fog came off the river blue-gray and close enough to taste when Sam turned into the cannery lot at 9:57 p.m. One floodlight hummed over the east gate, throwing a wedge of white across cracked concrete. A white cargo van idled in the shadow of the loading bay, its exhaust drawing ghosts in the cold. The pale-eyed man from the notice board stepped out of the dark like he'd been sewn into it. "You're on time," he said. "Good habit." "Do I need a name for you?" Sam asked. The man smiled with only half his face. "You don't." "Hand me your phone." Sam hesitated, then passed it over. The man dropped it into a plastic bin with 3 others and snapped on the lid, like baiting a trap. He pressed a cheap flip phone into Sam's palm and a small handheld radio onto the dashboard. "Channel 3. If you get scared, breathe and keep driving. If you get curious, breathe and don't. It's 40 minutes out, 10 minutes down, 40 back. Eye on your mirrors, but don't look like you are. You'll meet them at the old way station off 41. Flash twice. They'll flash once. Doors don't open unless the sequence happens. Who's they?" "People who don't put their names on corkboards," the man said. "Keys are in. Don't be late. And you are." "Kellen," he said, as if it might be a lie. "You'll know me by the voice." Kellen slid the bay door up halfway. Stacked against the wall were 4 black composite cases with metal seals and shock indicators, each the size of a carry-on. Sam touched one and felt the skin cold of refrigeration through his glove. "What is it?" he asked. "Time-sensitive freight," Kellen said. "Don't drop it. Don't stop unless the car dies or you do. If you get pulled over, you're delivering water filters. It even says it on the manifest." He handed Sam a clipboard. The manifest did say water filters, model numbers, quantities, a corporate logo that looked designed to be forgettable. "Go," Kellen said. The van's steering wheel was warm, the heater already working. Sam checked the mirrors, the empty lot, the floodlight's halo. The radio crackled. "Courier 1, check," Kellen's voice said. "Check. Run the river road, then county to 41. The station's dark. The motion sensor on the far pole is stuck on. Don't turn your lights off. Don't try to be clever." Sam eased the van through the east gate. The levee rose to his right, full of slow water and moonlight. He drove past the diner, dark but for the clock behind the counter, and the one blinking light at Main and Pine. Makazonga slept like a town that had decided to trust the night. At the edge of town, fog thinned to raw air. The county road lay straight as a rule under his headlights. He kept the speedometer just under 60, knuckles white at 10 and 2. Every reflector looked like an eye. Every mailbox felt like a witness. "Courier 1, you have a tail?" Kellen said. Sam checked the mirror. 2 sets of headlights half a mile back. "Hard to say." "Say, then ease it to 50. He eased. The lights fell back, then one turned off onto a farm lane. The other stayed where it was, steady, unhurried. "At 50, he said. "Good," Kellen murmured. "If they're ours, they won't pass. If they're not, they will." A minute later, the car slid by, a county sedan with a lone driver drinking from a thermal mug, eyes front. Sam exhaled without meaning to. The way station squatted in a bowl of darkness. 4 exits later, concrete cracked like a dry map. The dead digital sign still promised, "Way, open 24 hours." Sam pulled up under the busted awning and killed the engine. The silence rang. He flashed the headlights twice. For 3 seconds, nothing moved. Then a black SUV rolled up from the far lane and stopped nose to nose. One flash. The SUV's rear doors opened in the same moment that the van's cargo light clicked on. A woman stepped out, the kind of stillness you feel in your teeth. Navy coat, gloves, haircut in a sharp black line under her cap. She didn't waste words. "You're new," she said. "First night," Sam said. She held out her hand. He passed her the clipboard. She didn't look at it. "Keep it," she said. "Kellen loves paper. I like outcomes." She nodded to a man behind her. The man moved with the silent competence of someone who slept in his boots. He lifted 2 cases down with care, as if they were full of light. Sam noticed the frost on the seals. "Temperatures held," the woman said, looking at the indicators. "Good." "What am I transporting?" The question arrived before he could stop it. The woman met his eyes like a dare. "You're transporting a paycheck." She waited a beat. "What's your name?" "Sam." "Don't let Kellen own you, Sam." Her voice was quiet. Midwest, with something colder under it. "He'll try." They always try. "Who are you?" he asked. She smiled at his caution. "They call me Alina." She tilted her head toward the SUV. "If he gives you a second run, you call this first." She slipped a card into his pocket in a motion he barely felt. Matte black, stamped with a tiny silver compass. The second pair of cases traded hands. The SUV doors closed. Alina moved like a signal that had been sent long before he arrived. "Sequence holds both ways," she said. "Flash once before you go." He did. The SUV's brake lights pulsed twice, and then it folded into the dark like it had been taught the shape of it. On the way back, the fog thickened low, and a train took the crossing at County 16 slower than a bad song. Sam drummed the wheel, counting boxcars, feeling minutes he didn't own slip past. The radio hissed. "You're late," Kellen said. "Train," Sam said. "Trains existed this morning," Kellen replied. "Plan for them." He rolled into the cannery lot at 11:58 with his jaw locked. Kellen stepped out of the dark like punctuation and opened the van. He counted cases, checked seals, closed the doors, and finally looked at Sam like he was an equation that had balanced. 200, Kellen said, passing a rubber-banded roll. He tucked a smaller band under it. "And 50 for not being stupid at the way station." "I asked a question," Sam said. "You did," Kellen said. "And you didn't demand an answer." That's the line between curious and dead. Kellen handed him his phone back. The acceptance email glowed as if it had been waiting. The plastic bin with the other phones sat beside the bay, lit off. The message was clear. "You were gone for an hour that didn't count." "One more tomorrow," Kellen said. "Longer route." "Same rules." Sam nodded, pocketed the money, and in doing it felt that tiny card from Alina touch his knuckle like a secret. He didn't look at it until he was halfway home and the fog began to lift off the river. It showed only the silver compass and a number with too many digits to be local. Sam slowed, rolled the window down, and let the river air in. Somewhere between the bay door and the way station, the job had become a fork in the road. One path had a name and a start date. The other had a woman with a compass and a warning. The door out was open. It was just a question of which one. By 9:30, the cannery had turned itself into a single bright rectangle in a field of dark. Sam parked where Kellen pointed with 2 fingers, no closer, no farther, and handed over his phone without being asked. The plastic bin sat open on the bay floor, 4 screens face down like fish on ice. "Longer route," Kellen said. He had a clipboard again, edges greased dark, and a folded map with lines drawn in 3 colors. "Blue is yours unless I say different. If I say different, you say copy red and change lanes at the next turnoff. Words matter." "Same cargo?" Sam asked. Kellen raised the bay door. 6 cases this time, frost smoking faintly off the seals. "Same rules. No stopping, no sightseeing. If you get pulled, you're water filters. If someone hits you, I write it up as weather." Sam's laugh didn't arrive. Kellen tapped the radio in the van. "Channel 3, 10-minute check-ins. If you miss one, I call it a fail, and you keep driving till I say stop. Don't make me talk to you more than I have to." Ruth's words from the diner, "Sleep won't fix it," threaded through the cold. Sam nodded. "Copy." Kellen's hand landed on the doorframe as Sam climbed in. "One more thing," he said, as if it were an afterthought. "The way station's not yours tonight." "What is?" "You'll know it when you see it." Sam pulled out under the humming floodlight and past the hollow cannery windows. The river kept pace on his right like a shadow with a memory. At the edge of town, the fog thinned, and the night took on the crisp, almost metallic quality that made sounds travel farther and secrets sit up straighter. At County 4, his turn signal ticked. Then he didn't make the turn. He eased into the gravel shoulder by the old grain co-op, killed the headlights, and dialed the number on Alina's card. The digits felt like a lock combination no one should know. 2 rings, a click, and then her voice, clean and close. "You waited," she said, not bothering with hello. "I called," Sam said. "Kellen moved me off the way station." "Of course he did." A pause that felt like a measuring tape. "What color's your route?" "Blue, 6 cases, 10-minute check-ins." "Kellen owns the river roads tonight," she said, "and the sheriff owns Kellen." "You like paying twice?" Sam watched the empty intersection and felt the weight of the radio on the seat. "What am I driving into?" "A stop that won't look like one," she said. "A stalled truck, 2 men arguing, a third who doesn't belong. If you see a tow rig already on site, you're in the wrong story. When Kellen switches you to red, don't. Go Lime." "Lime isn't on my map." "It's not for you," she said. "Mile 73, old car wash off County 9. In and out, 3 minutes. Same sequence, 1-3. If you're followed, you're early for your funeral." "Why tell me?" he asked. Kellen's pale eyes studied him the way a mechanic listens to an engine. "Mr. Radovich likes men who follow instructions," he said. The name landed like a dropped tool. "He doesn't like questions. Tomorrow you'll meet him." He counted out the money, tucked the bonus under it, and set both in Sam's hand as if weighing him. "And you'll bring your phone earlier," Kellen added. "Mr. Radovich hates ghosts." Sam nodded and stepped back into the cold, the river's breath moving across the lot like a living thing. In his pocket, the card's small compass pressed against his palm, and for once it felt like something that might be pointing toward more than an exit. He had chosen a road that didn't exist on Kellen's map. Tomorrow, someone who drew maps for other men would want to know why. By dawn, the cannery had a heartbeat, forklifts murmuring somewhere inside, a generator ticking like a metronome. Kellen waited by the east gate with a thermos and a look that said, "Hurry," without saying it. He took Sam's phone before Sam could offer it, turned it over in his palm like a coin, then slid it into a silver pouch that swallowed the signal. "Upstairs," Kellen said. "Don't speak unless you're asked." The office was a glass box built over the loading floor, part foreman's nest, part dentist's waiting room. A space heater hummed under a dented desk. A single lamp turned everything else into shadow. Goran Radovich sat in that lamp's circle as if it were a stage light. He was in his 50s, clean barbered, suit too simple to be cheap. When he looked up, Sam felt the air tilt, like stepping onto a boat and finding it already moving. "You're the boy who doesn't like red," Radovich said. No handshake, just that. "Sam Harrison," Sam said. "I know what you are called," Radovich replied, the tail end of a Balkan accent rounding his consonants. "I want to know if the name is a promise." Kellen closed the door and took the wall. The generator ticked. Somewhere below, a pallet jack chirped in reverse. Radovich gestured to a hard chair. "We move goods," he said, as if narrating an instructional video. "We do not ask about the goods. We do not invent adventures. We do not improvise. Improvisation is for people with nothing to lose." He slid a single case across the desk and popped the latches. Cold breathed out like a kept secret. Inside lay foam cutouts holding silver ampoules with printed seals and holograms. No water filters, no pretense. One label caught the lamp: Boreal Therapeutics, clinical material. Do not freeze. Sam kept his face still. "These are worth more than the building you are sitting in," Radovich said. "They are legal somewhere, illegal here, and needed everywhere. You want to help people? Consider yourself a philanthropist." The smile didn't touch his eyes. "Consider yourself paid." He closed the lid and latched it. "Your route last night was blue. Your handler suggested red. You chose blue. Because blue was the plan I understood. And you do not change what you do not understand. Radovich nodded as if Sam had produced a proverb he recognized. Acceptable. He leaned back. Kellen thinks you are educable. Kellen didn't move. Radovich reached into a drawer and set something on the desk between them. A matte black card stamped with a tiny silver compass. Tell me, Radovich said softly, what story this is from. A woman at a way station, Sam said. She handed it to me. Said not to let Kellen own me. Radovich's eyebrows rose a fraction, then smoothed. Honesty is an expensive habit, he said. I prefer it when it is someone else's. He held the card at the corner, pinched between two fingers. Her name is not important, he said. She is competition. She traffics in detours and feelings. I traffic in results. He slid the card back toward Sam. Here is your test. You will carry a single case to a clinic on County 12. You will leave at 8 p.m., blue until I say otherwise. If our friend, he tapped the compass, finds you, you will act confused and helpful. You will give her this case. He paused. It is weighed. She will not know the difference. And if she doesn't show, you deliver to the clinic. You do not talk. Radovich's smile was a blade pressed flat. You will be watched either way. If you perform, you will stop being a boy with a car and start being a man with a future. He nodded once to Kellen, who opened a folder and placed two documents in front of Sam. The first was a non-disclosure agreement with Norev Puri, LLC in the header, the same bland corporate logo from the manifest. The second was a laminated ID badge with Sam's picture, cropped from somewhere he hadn't given permission. Sign, Kellen said. Sam scanned the NDA. Its language said, water filtration components for disaster relief. The case on the desk still breathed cold like a contradiction. He signed. Sheriff Whitaker will be as curious about you as he is about everything, Radovich said. If he waves you down, you will stop. You will smile. He will smile. Then you will leave. He understands the chain of custody better than most first crack, Sam thought. There it was, open as daylight. Radovich stood, closing the interview like a file. One more thing, he said. Every courier thinks he has found a way to be clever. They believe they can work for me and for the other one. They forget that a river has one direction. He turned back, expression almost paternal. Do not forget who drew the map. Outside, the dock air felt colder. Kellen handed Sam back his phone, out of its pouch. A single missed call from an unlisted number stared up. No voicemail, no trace. 8 p.m., Kellen said. East Gate. Copy, Sam said. Back on the levee, the river looked like sheet metal. He slid Alina's card into his phone case where his fingers could find it without looking. The town behind him kept its porch lights on. The cannery kept humming. 8 p.m. would come whether he was ready or not. By 7:50, the river air had turned to glass. Sam parked 2 blocks from Ruth's diner, used the side door, and fed quarters into the payphone, whose dial tone sounded older than the town. He didn't risk his cell. He dialed the compass number from memory. You're early, Alina said on the first ring. He moved me to a clinic on County 12. 8 p.m. Weighted case. Sheriff Whitaker's friendly. Of course he is. Paper rustled, brisk, precise. Listen carefully. If a black SUV paces you before the bridge, count flashes. 1-3 is ours. Anything else is theater. You don't stop. You deliver. You don't want the case? It's ballast. He wants to film you betraying him. Sell a story about how I steal from boys. Don't give him one. Then what do I give him? Exactly what he asked for, but eyes open. That clinic isn't a clinic. Look for repack. New labels over old. Cold chain breaks patched with hot packs. Call me when you're clear. Copy. He hesitated. Why help me if you're telling me to play along? Because to move someone out of a maze, You first have to let him see the walls. Go, Sam. At 7:59, Kellen took his phone and tucked it into the silver pouch as if keeping a pet quiet. Blue to the clinic. No scenic routes. Copy blue, Sam said. The tamper seal winked its tiny perfect line as he slid the case into the van. A mile before the bridge, an SUV slid alongside. 2 flashes. 2. Wrong. He kept 48 on the dial. Under the bridge lights, Sheriff Whitaker smiled with his hat in his hand. Chain of custody's a funny thing. Fragile. Pop the rear. If this seal breaks here, Sam said evenly, the clinic refuses receipt. Then Mr. Radovich asked me why his product cooked on the county shoulder. Cameras winked under the truss. Optics and time did their math. Drive safe, the sheriff said at last. The clinic was a metal box behind a shuttered farm supply. North County Family Wellness, the banner lied. Inside, the walk-in screamed, its gasket crusted in frost. Boreal labels peeked beneath fresh inkjet stickers. A cooler bled heat into a towel. Repack, hot packs, walls. Confirmed, Sam told Kellen on the radio, walking back into air that tasted like a penny. Then from the lot, he dialed Alina. Ballast. Repack on site. Sheriff's coat on a hook. They wanted you to bite at the bridge. Did you give them a story? I gave them a delivery, but I'm not blind anymore. Good. 2 nights from now, Radovich moves real product across the county line at Mason's Ferry. He thinks the river keeps secrets. It doesn't. How do you know? I drew some maps before he did. You're in this now, Sam. He'll test you again, harder. He'll put someone you care about in the middle. Don't let him own you. Headlights swung into the lot, the SUV again. Courier 1? Engine trouble? Kellen asked. Leaving now, Sam said, and went. 2 days stretched like wire. The sheriff lingered at Ruth's counter longer than coffee required. Before dawn, Kellen called. 8 sharp tonight. Mason's Ferry. Bring your phone. Minutes later, a text arrived. Sam's mother leaving the school cafeteria, head down against the wind. Trays stacked in a cart. No caption. He fed coins into the payphone at noon. Mason's Ferry, he told Alina. 8. Kellen wants my phone powered and present. They'll triangulate and film their own innocence, she said. 2 boats, not 1. Products split until mid-river, then consolidate. The sheriff runs the far ramp. No witnesses. My people will be upriver, blacked out. If you're asked to step onto the deck, you step, and you stall. How long? Long enough to make them nervous. There's a camera angle the river gives you and the road doesn't. Use it. And Sam, if Kellen mentions family, he's telling you how little imagination he has. Don't blink. By 7:40, fog lay in veils. Kellen sealed Sam's phone in the shimmering pouch and handed it back. So you don't forget we care? 8 cold cases steamed faintly in the bay. Blue until I say otherwise. On deck, wait for the nod. Sheriff clears you. You smile. He smiles. Mason's Ferry was a rusted rectangle cabled to a winch, a deckhand's cigarette, the only star on the river. On the far side, a cruiser waited dark. The deck took Sam's weight with a hum. A second van pulled in behind. The cable took up. The river took everything else. Phones up, Kellen said. A darker dark moved upriver. The deckhand dropped a gate in the middle of the deck, dividing it like a throat. 2 men in black stepped from the wheelhouse shadow, faces ordinary to the point of design. Mr. Harrison, one said, open your rear. Evening, Sam, Whitaker called. Genial salute that never reached his mouth. Sam slid the dolly under the first case and didn't move. He counted to 8, adjusted a strap that didn't need adjusting. watched the sheriff's wet boots and the jaw working a phantom toothpick. Upriver, 3 pinprick flashes. 1, 3, Alina's signature. The men in black didn't turn. Map people, not river people. "Move it!" the closer one snapped. Sam rolled. At the midpoint, he let the dolly shimmy, knelt to free the wheel, and palmed the tape tab just enough to whisper without breaking. A lens-friendly illusion of tampering. The upriver boat brushed the cable. A clatter, a curse. The flood lamp stuttered. In that half-second of broken day, a line arced from fog, hooked the upright dolly, tugged. The case slid cleanly into waiting arms and vanished like a coin into a sleeve. Hands grabbed Sam's jacket. He let them. He also let go of the dolly. Metal clanged. Downstream, a camera flash popped, too clean to be accident, etching sheriff, men, and cases in a single hard frame. "Who are you working for?" the man demanded. "Same as 5 minutes ago," Sam said, and held his eyes until the man looked away first. The ferry bumped the far ramp. Chains rattled. "Finish the transfer," Whitaker said, finding his working smile. On the drive back, Kellen's voice returned, brighter than it should have been. "Courier 1 status. Delivered. You hesitated. Deck shifted. Wheel stuck. Mr. Radovich will see you at dawn." The silver pouch gleamed in the dash. On the seat, his mother's photo lay face down. The river moved in one direction, pretending it had no memory. He knew better now. Dawn turned the cannery's windows to paper. Kellen led him upstairs. Radovich sat in the lamp's tight circle. Whitaker pretended to read a safety poster. A case waited on the desk. "You hesitated," Radovich said. "On the ferry. The deck shifted. Inventory says 8 cases across. 8 present, but one feels thinner." He tapped the foam, listening. "Did you know the river changes weight, Mr. Harrison?" "I know it changes direction less often than men do." Radovich set a photo on the desk. Sam's mother in the winter wind. "Understand me." Sam looked at Kellen. "You put your name on this." "I don't put my name on anything," Kellen said. The landline rang. Kellen moved to silence it. Radovich raised a hand. "Please, let's be courteous." "Office," Kellen answered. "Good morning, Kellen," a clean voice said. "Ask Goran to check his phone." Radovich didn't like being told to do anything. He checked anyway. His screen bloomed with messages. Compliance, legal, boreal, 2 regional papers, 1 national stringer. A photo opened itself on the lock screen. The ferry in hard white, Whitaker, men in black, ampules glinting like teeth. "That frame just went to 12 places you care about and a 13th you don't," Alina said. "The 13th has a very loud microphone." Whitaker's cheeks went a shade older. "Who the hell?" "Sheriff," Alina said mildly. "Ask your attorney the difference between chain of custody and conspiracy to defraud a public grant. Also ask whether killing a camera makes the river stop remembering." "What do you want?" Kellen asked through his teeth. "The building. Open east and west bays. Walk the cases onto the dock. Step back, then keep stepping, or don't. The second option comes with sirens far below," a dog barked. A minute later, keening rose along the levee. Whitaker's radio scratched itself awake with chatter he didn't like. "You brought her to my river," Radovich told Sam. "No, you taught me where to look. I can give you a life, Sam Harrison. That email you stare at like a window, I can make the job behind it real, or I can make this town impossible for you to love." Sam turned his mother's photo so it faced Radovich. "She can carry a town on a tray. You need 8 cases and a sheriff to lean on a ferry. That's the difference. Units at the gate, Kellen said softly. Fire inspection, hazmat, state troopers. Someone called everyone, open the bays, Whitaker said. Reflex choosing theater. No, Radovich said, and in that word something true showed. Pride dressed as strategy, control dressed as courage. Kellen, move inventory to the back stairs. Sheriff, escort our guest. If Ms. Zora likes sirens, let her listen. Sam picked up the landline, pressed speaker. You told me not to improvise, he said to Radovich. Goran, Alina said into the room, uninvited and perfectly at home. Your back stairs are covered. East dock, 3 cameras. West, 2. Hazmat has a warrant for the freezer you call a closet. Boreal's compliance director's on the levee counting his serial numbers. Boots thudded in the stairwell. Whitaker's radio chirped a code he couldn't ignore. Kellen's eyes flicked to the window and back, small tells saying big things. Loyalty, Radovich said, smoothing his tie almost gentle, is choosing the map you die on. I'm not dying for a map, Sam said. I'm choosing who draws the next one. He opened the door. 2 troopers and a man with a clipboard waited with the weary authority of state seals. What followed didn't look like a movie arrest. It looked like inventory and signatures and quiet hands taking control of forklifts. It looked like Ruth by the road with a dish towel in her fist, watching old lies become paperwork. It looked like Whitaker's hat tucked under his arm because his hands had forgotten what to do without it. Alina didn't appear on the levee. She didn't need to. Sam felt her presence the way you feel the river under ice, power moving without display. An hour later, Kellen passed with his wrists free and his face changed in the way men look when they've run out of language. Radovich followed between 2 clean-suited men, immaculate to the end, eyes already measuring a different town on a different map. Sam's phone vibrated, a text from an unknown number. The river remembers you, he typed back. I remember it. At noon, he stopped by the diner. Ruth poured coffee without asking and slid him a receipt with a hand-drawn compass in the corner. Next, she asked. North, he said. 2 hours, apprenticeship. You'll come back, she said. Not a question. Maybe, he said, when the maps are better. He left Makazonga with the river on his right and the feeling that a thing can end without ending you. The compass card wrote in his wallet. The acceptance email had a start date now. Behind him, the cannery hummed a different tune, the sound of machines being cataloged and doors being sealed. Ahead, the road lifted out of the fog and went on. He took it.